Hey everybody, welcome to the Mother Figures podcast. I'm Caitlin Darkangelo, founder and co-owner of Figure, Midwestern wife, and girl mom. I'm a dual certified pregnancy and postpartum trainer, majored in exercise science from the University of Michigan, earned my master in management degree from Duke University, and have been coaching in the fitness industry for over a decade. This podcast dives into all things pregnancy and postpartum fitness, especially in how to navigate strength and intensity training in these seasons. Whether you're in it yourself, trying to get pregnant, or coaching this population, you're in the right place. I'm excited to share personal experiences, client stories, guest interviews, and evidence-based strategies to give you the guidance, insights, and clarity needed to navigate these seasons with confidence. And with that, let's get rolling. Hello, and welcome back to the Mother Figures podcast. Today is going to be almost like a part 2 of my last episode, which is where I went into my whole background and personal experience with trying to conceive and miscarriage. And I realized after filming it that I kind of went through all of the things that I tried during my fertility phase or my trying to conceive phase. And I wanted to create an episode that was just like the 10 things that we did so that you guys, if you are going through that, or maybe in the future you want to grow your family, you can come back to this episode specifically and just have a list of things that may be helpful for you, or just to look into and dive deeper into yourself, because there is no one size fits all of what's going to help you get pregnant or a friend get pregnant or whatever it is. But at least having the knowledge, or just knowing or being aware of certain things that can help with fertility, or just things to dive into, can be super helpful. So today's going to be a little bit shorter, just kind of listing out the things that we personally tried or did so that you can go into and research them yourself. Because then again, I am not a fertility specialist by any means, but we did do a lot of these, and some of them, maybe if you even dive deeper into them yourself, maybe it is kind of one of the things that could be a missing piece for you. So number one, I'm going to list the 10 things that we did throughout our fertility journey that may or may not have contributed to us getting pregnant, but maybe it did. So number one was the methylfolate piece of things. So we found, this was from a podcast that I listened to, 60% of people don't process folic acid appropriately, which has different stuff related to fertility that it can impact. And so I was sent a podcast that talked about methylfolate, and they recommended the Thorne fertility bundle, or Thorne pregnancy bundle, which included a DHA supplement, a prenatal supplement, and then methylfolate. So instead of folic acid, they use like the base form, which is methylfolate. So maybe I had a problem, like the 60% of humans that do, of converting folic acid. So just something to look into. Folic acid, methylfolate, Thorne fertility bundle was specifically what we tried, or what I tried. Number 2 was the Inito, INITO ovulation strips. And so it's a next level up from the LH testing strips that are just to track your peak fertility days or your fertility window. This gave you insight into all different kinds of hormones instead of just your LH spikes, which then you can see if your other hormones are also acting naturally throughout your whole cycle. You also get that ovulation confirmation, so you can still have that LH spike without actually ovulating. So this can be really helpful for those with different fertility concerns or just irregular cycles. Just a good way to see if all of your hormones are on track and kind of doing the right thing, as well as tracking when that fertile window will come. So Inito strips were awesome. Number 3, we did go see a fertility specialist. I want to put a little asterisk here, is fertility specialists specialize in medical types of conception. So IVF, IUI, they're kind of going for more of the procedure thing. So if that's something that you want to do, or, that is up your alley, that would be a good place to go. If you do not want to go that route, and that is not in your plan, and you want to try all the things you can prior to, I would have skipped this piece completely, because I talked about this in my bigger podcast, or last podcast. They wanted me to get on birth control so that I could line up with their schedule. And they wanted me to do a pretty intensive procedure called a hysteroscopy, I believe it was called, to check on my fallopian tubes, which I had no signs of needing that procedure. There was just a lot more medical stuff that went into fertility specialists. They were not like, they don't go the natural route, I will say, at least the one that I went to. Again, there's probably great people out there and great ones out there that go more naturally as well. But something to just know going into it is like they are going to kind of push you to go right into IUI, IVF kind of things. I had my appointment scheduled and they said after doing our hysteroscopy, we can start right on IUI right after that without going further into my history. So again, I will just leave it at that. But if that is something that we did go to a fertility specialist, and that was kind of the result that we got. Number 4, I did a full blood panel, and I forgot to talk about this in my full podcast, but it was through my Function Health. And that was super insightful. So it was like 100 biomarkers, blood, fertility hormone stuff, iron, all the things. It just in general, this is not a fertility specific blood panel. You could probably get a fertility specific one. That was super interesting. That brought up some slightly elevated thyroid levels for me. And then as I dug more into thyroid stuff, thyroid can definitely have a impact on your fertility. So that is a route that you can go as well. I actually was told to go on thyroid medications from my fertility specialist. And I did do that for about 2 or 3 weeks, but that was after my fertile window that we got pregnant in. So I'm not sure how much of an impact the thyroid stuff had on that. More of a natural process for thyroid management can be cutting out gluten, dairy, inflammatory stuff. I lowered caffeine as well during that same time frame. Again, this was after my fertile window. So again, I don't know how much it impacted for me, but just something to think about thyroid related. I actually have a code for Function Health. I'll put that in the show notes. But that was really insightful, and it was really cool to kind of have those blood levels in my hands. It wasn't through a doctor. It was you just go to the lab, you get your blood drawn, and they put it back into the app, and then a clinician goes through all of your levels online and kind of gives you feedback on what things are going on. So I really, really valued that information. Number 5 was the vaginal microbiome. So there is a pH test that you can take at home, and then you send it in and they tell you what your pH levels are. And then there is a supplement. This was from Microbiome Labs specifically. There's a prenatal support or pregnancy support, and then like a vaginal balance support. So one kind of like for pre-pregnancy. And that helps with just kind of like the gut, the microbiome can, be off, which can be more acidic or more basic, and that can affect like sperm, moving and stuff like that. So something to look into, a pH test there, and then there's supplements that can support the optimal environment for that. Number 6, we got Anthony tested. Again, I don't think this played into us as much, but the guys have just as much fertility, things going on as the women do. So 50-50. Guys and girls got to come together to make a baby. So making sure you think about the male piece of the puzzle, whether that's getting sperm tested or just looking at stress levels and lifestyle factors, all this kind of stuff. Lots of things that you can go into there. Again, we did not get super deep into that, but wanted to highlight that for sure, because that can be a huge piece. And it's actually research is finding that a lot more has to do with male fertility than we previously thought. So needed to highlight that. Number 7, I forgot to put this in the podcast also, but fertility acupuncture. Had no idea that was a thing. I did this after my miscarriage, but kind of only did it for a month or 2. So I don't think it had a huge impact on me. I probably just needed to go for longer maybe, and it would have had more benefit or whatever. But fertility specific acupuncture is a real thing. The girl who I went to was correlated or in the same building as the fertility specialist. So sometimes they work in tandem. Sometimes you find them on their own. Some acupuncturists just specialize in fertility. but just something to think about if that's kind of in your alley or in your book of things that you want to try. Number 8, and this is one I would really recommend. There are people that specialize in root cause fertility. So there, a specific girl that I talked to was Ashley Novak. She is a root cause fertility specialist, and she kind of had all of this stuff laid out for me. We never like worked together, but we kind of like just chatted on Instagram and stuff, and I kind of read through all of her things. But they focus on more of the nutritional, behavioral, lifestyle related factors that go into fertility. So thinking of the body as a whole, trying to pinpoint hormones and blood levels and all this stuff that I was kind of doing on my own. That's what she actually specializes in, or root cause fertility specialists specialize in. And so if you want to go more of a natural route with fertility practices, I would for sure go to one of these practitioners first before going to see a fertility specific clinic that specializes more in like the IVF, IUI stuff. So they are awesome. They, again, work more with lifestyle, nutritional, supplemental, all that kind of stuff. So huge piece there. Number 9 is supplements. So just some supplements we tried. Obviously, we had the prenatals from the Thorne prenatal stack that included an additional DHA, an additional methylfolate supplement. And then on top of that, I also was taking CoQ10 and fish oil. And on top of those, the microbiome supplements as well. So I was kind of all over the place with supplements. Again, I am not a supplement, specialist. I don't know a ton of the science behind stuff. Those are just things that were recommended to me. So definitely thinking about different supplements that can make your body in the most optimal state it can be from a small nutrition level on top of, our normal daily nutrition needs. And so that's number 9. And then number 10 is like the full body inflammation, or thinking of the body as a whole functioning system that works together, not just fertility in isolation, but like what's happening with the rest of the body that could be playing into your body's capability to support another human being. This is something that a root cause fertility specialist can really help with, or a holistic practitioner. This is when I started connecting the dots with my ear infection that affected me for almost 2 years, which also then I think sparked my alopecia, which is an autoimmune disease that I'm still fighting on right now. But those things, they kind of helped me frame that as like, your body is fighting this like very severe ear infection, which is obviously close to a lot of important structures in your head and your brain. And if your body's like constantly fighting or in like fight mode, essentially, for that inflammation and that infection, that can pull your body's needs away from like being able to support a baby, and it's kind of fighting something else and trying to battle something else. So again, maybe this had something to do with my fertility issues or not. I don't know, but it is something to think about, and something that you can use a professional to help you kind of dig to the root of things. But just knowing that like your body is one whole big organism and things can affect other things. And to not think of fertility in isolation. There can be a lot of other things that we can address that can just make your body more optimal overall. So those are my 10 things. I wanted to then finish with one thing I did not change, was decreasing my workout volume, weights, intensity, anything about that, because fertility is not the healthier you are, better off fertility chances we have. But also there has been studies that have proven essentially that workouts cannot cause miscarriage. Workouts cannot cause fertility to like not happen. Like you cannot out-work out unless, so let me caveat this with, as long as you are fueling appropriately, there can be that like energy deficiency or that RED syndrome. That if you are working out too hard and you're not fueling appropriately, then we can get ourselves in a little pickle, especially if you have like lost your menstrual cycle because of how intense you're training without the nutrition, coming in to aid with that increase in intensity. But if you are fueling appropriately and you are having a healthy, balanced lifestyle, workouts cannot cause issue with fertility, or so has research shown. So I did not change my workouts. I did not decrease volume. I did not decrease weight. I did not remove anything. And I just want to highlight that because I think workouts sometimes can be one of the first things that people remove because it's like a unknown thing. A lot of times more so in the medical world of like, oh, that's one thing that like, if it's out of the picture, like then we don't have to consider it in part of our like why we're not getting pregnant thing. Regardless, I just wanted to highlight that I did not change up my workout routine at all because there's no research to back up that exercise intensity can cause decrease in fertility or anything like that unless you are obviously underfueled. So regardless, little caveat. So that's my 10 things. Again, wanted to keep this one a little bit shorter, just a list of things that we tried. Again, there are 100 million probably other things that you can also do or things to get into, but just want to bring these to your attention if it is something that you guys need to come back to in the future or are battling through right now and want to try out some of these things as well. Again, do your own research. Everybody has a different experience with all of these. These were just my experiences or things that I tried, but I hope that helped. And with that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Mother Figures podcast. If these episodes help or resonate with you in any way, it would be so helpful to the show if you could leave a review so we can get this into more moms' hands. And if you're looking for even more guidance and direction when it comes to pregnancy and postpartum fitness, I got you covered. My Mother Figures app subscription includes my Figure Pregnancy and Figure Postpartum workout programs, in addition to our general fitness programs. You'll get the day-by-day workouts you need to help you feel strong, pain-free, and labor-ready during pregnancy, and also the recovery, strength, and progressions you'll need to get back to the activities you love, full of strength and without symptoms after baby arrives. If you're local to the Brighton, Michigan area, I also host daily women's functional fitness classes, a 6-week postpartum return to fitness course, and pregnancy and postpartum consultation sessions. For those who are providers, coaches, or practitioners in the space, I hold a live Mother Figures certification course that equips you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to train and work with this population. For information on all of these services and programs, make sure to check out fitisgettingreal.com/moms or head to the show notes for the direct link. I'm so thankful that you tuned in to today's episode, and I will catch you next time.